get that back to my bedroom. I know that will happen. That's awesome. All right, let's start first and foremost. Coming off spring football practice, we're going to talk a little bit about the draft and we'll do all that. But coming out of spring football, just thoughts as you start rebuilding this thing and trying to make another run at a national championship.
Well, I love spring. I love spring football. It's kind of the beginning stages of a new team, a new challenge, a new journey, kind of figuring out your team. If you have any staff changes, kind of starting that process as well. But last year, we could have played a game the first day of spring practice. Literally. I mean, that was the type of maturity, experience, leadership that we had coming back. And that's a fun team to be around. The conversations that you have, just the depth of experience and familiarity that you have with each other is really special. But this year's team was fun too, because we literally were coaching the basics of positions, the basics of our systems, offensively, defensively, especially with so many new people. We had 17 high school seniors that showed up in January, and they know nothing. So it's just, they're really, really talented people. Obviously, they don't know anything, and they're trying to learn how to communicate. And so there was this ton of energy and enthusiasm and excitement about spring practice. And I love that. And we actually started February 27th, so we played all the way till January the 7th. Got back home on the 8th, had a parade a couple days later, our banquet, and then boom, just a few weeks later, February 27th, we're back on the field. And that was kind of intentional. So we were the last ones off the field, and I wanted to be the first ones back on it. Turn the page, let's get our eyes forward, and let's get focused on a new challenge in this team. And so it was a lot of fun to have that many guys go through. We had 104 guys go through spring practice. So we have 120 on the roster. So that's a lot of guys that got an opportunity to go through all the installation, the off-season program, all the meetings. So this team's not ready to play. We have some guys who are. That's the difference in where we were last year to this year to this time. This team is not ready. But August 29th, we will be ready. And I met the superintendent in here, by the way. I don't know where he is. I met him in here in the pictures. But I think you should just cancel school that Friday the 30th. That should just be like an optional day. Got an educational experience going on up in the valley. It's going to go early into the morning. So, but anyway, it was great. I really like this team. We've got a lot of talented people and a lot of leadership to replace, but we've got all the ingredients. I like to tell everybody last year that when we got to spring practice, the cake was baked. It was sitting on the counter. It smelled good. We just needed to put the icing on it and cut it and eat it. And this group here, the oven's heated up, 350. We got all the ingredients. They're laid out. We're not missing anything. There's nothing worse when your mom tells you, hey, run next door and get some eggs. I need some eggs. You're making something, you realize that you don't have it, and you go, crap, I need some eggs, or I need whatever, butter. And you go down to the neighbor. That's a bad thing when you're in the middle of something. But we got everything. We just got to put it together, and in the end it'll be the same type of result. This will be a team that can win and compete at the highest level.
Well, we saw some of our guys from the national championship team that moved on now to the NFL. You were there for round one in Nashville. It was a great night, not only for those individuals, but also for Clemson football.
It was amazing. It was an awesome draft, disappointing in some aspects, but the NFL never ceases to amaze me. I was so excited to see so many of our guys get an opportunity. I was talking to Adam Choice this morning. He's on his way out to Seattle. Renfro in the game, left today to go to Oakland. So really just neat to see a lot of guys achieve their dreams and get the opportunity to go be pro players. I think we got about 14 guys or so that are in camps and get an opportunity to be pro football players, and I guarantee you most of them will make it. So I'm really happy about that. And the draft was an amazing experience. Christian Wilkins stole the whole show. I got some get back by the way of Willie. That was a dream come true. So we had a great time. I mean, and then the really cool thing is when you see, when I talk to the people, and then you see the articles or the comments from Gruden and from Mike Mayock, who's the GM out there, on why they took all these Clemson players. You just can't buy that type of publicity and positive advertising for our program. The type of guys that come out of our program, the character, the leadership, their commitment, and the feedback has already been amazing. Cleve was there the next day. He was in Brinson Buckner's office for 8 hours trying, because he wanted the playbook, he wants to learn the terminology. I mean, he was like ready to go to work that day, practice that afternoon. And so it's just going to be a great fit, and a bunch of guys are going to get the opportunity to, like I said, fulfill their dream.
You mentioned staff in your opening comments. How important is it to have this kind of staff continuity that you have going on at this point in time?
Well, I think everything, this is a people business, and I think everything comes back to the people involved. That's just what I believe. I don't hire coaches, I hire people. You know, there's a million good coaches out there that can talk X's and O's and get on the board and tell you how much they know about this position, but good coaches that love the player, that are committed to the core values of our program, that are good men, good husbands, good fathers, etc., then the pool gets small. And so I always hire people first, coaches second, and we recruit people first, players second. And that's just a philosophy. So everything around you that you're surrounded with, that's ultimately what it comes down to. And we've got an awesome staff. And I think staff continuity is great. I really do. I mean, I don't think it's, if you got that staff turnover every year, I think that's a problem. That's a different type of problem. But occasionally you're going to have somebody that gets another opportunity or retires or whatever. Dan Brooks was with me from day one, and after the first national championship, he retired. Well, it gave me an opportunity to go out and hire a guy named Todd Bates. Young coach, Jackson State, the guy I kind of had my eye on, and man, what a job Todd Bates has done. I mean, he is just killing it on the recruit trail. He is a great teacher. He's passionate, awesome family. I was able to hire Lamansky Hall, Marion Hobby, moved on to the NFL. Now he's with the Dolphins. Gave me an opportunity to get Lamansky on the field. Mickey Kahn, able to come in and coach our safety. So we've had a little bit of turnover over the last few years, but not a lot. So I think the key is when you do have a change, you look at it as an opportunity to, have a different energy, maybe a different perspective, because everybody kind of brings their own experiences in. And I love that. But the continuity that we have, the group of people that we have in place at Clemson, I just can't tell you how special they are and how lucky all of us are to have the great men and women up there in our football office working hard for the Tigers every day.
I guess beyond the 10 assistant coaches, the fact that you have so many Clemson players that are back on staff, analyst roles, support roles, is huge as well for you.
Yeah, I think we have 19 former players on our staff, whether it's full-time coaches, in our Paul Journey program, in the weight room, in our academic side, or just our operations side. And it's just awesome. And that's one of the things that I think really separates us. And what that shows is how connected we are. I mean, this will be my 17th year at Clemson. I mean, I've been the head coach a decade. It's going to be my 11th year. I got a new 10-year contract. It's really cool. For me personally, I coached Tony Elliott. He played for me. He played receiver for me. And he's my offensive coordinator, and he's, 38 years old or whatever. And, so I look around the room, Gail Chambers and Henry Daniel. Of course, Danny Kierman played at Clemson. Brandon Streeter, my quarterback coach, played at Clemson. I go on and on and on. And it's awesome. All the way to Jeff Davis. Everybody remembers Jeff Davis, who heads up our Paul Journey program. So it's really neat, and I think when people come in, that resonates the Clemson family. and how connected the relationships are throughout our program.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the offensive side of the football. And probably the question maybe that a lot of these folks, how good do you foresee this offense being? Because I think it's got unbelievable potential. Obviously, all of us think that, but it starts with a guy at quarterback, and then it's the guy at running back, all these frisbee-catching dogs that you can have wide receiver, and it just goes on and on and on.
Well, I think everything, first of all, in this game, there's an if you stay healthy. If we stay healthy, we'll be really good. We'll be really disappointed if we're not an incredibly explosive offense and the ability to attack people a lot of different ways, whether it be through the run, the play action, the screen game, downfield passing game. We got a quarterback. We got two quarterbacks who can flat out win at the highest level. That's the biggest difference in this team this year than last year. Last year we were kind of starting over in some areas offensively. Young quarterback, we really didn't have much experience outside of Kelly. And so to know now we got two guys that I think can go win. Love our backs. We got 5 senior offensive linemen, 4 of our starters. We're as talented as we've ever been wide out. We got 17 mid-years in. There's no reason why we shouldn't be a dynamic and explosive offense. But you got to catch some breaks along the way as far as staying healthy, because you get a few injuries here or there, and that can change some things. But I love the makeup of this offense, and I think defensively, there's going to be a lot of people sleep on us this year because they're reading their eyes are in the rearview mirror about who's gone. But there's a lot of guys and I mean this. Everybody's sad to see Christian and Cleveland and Dexter and all those guys go, but there's a bunch of guys on my team that are really happy they're gone. Because they get opportunity now to be the guy, an opportunity to play. And man, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of competition on that defensive side, and a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm. So, we may not be number 1 in the country in defense like we were last year, but we'll be pretty good. We've got some growing up to do. I think our back end, the secondary, and the linebackers might be the best we've had. But we got to grow up front pretty quick. But we've got the right ingredients, but we've got a lot of teaching to do, and we've got to develop the depth that we need to sustain us. But when it's all said and done, I think that defense is going to be a really good group.
One of those guys up front is right here from Florence, obviously named Xavier Thomas. Personally, I think he has a chance, he wants to be the best ever that has played that position at Clemson.
Yeah, he really is his only limitation. And that's one of the things I talked to him about in our exit meeting with him. He's basically what I told him is he's as good an athlete as I've ever been around at that position. But he's not a great football player yet. He's got to take the next step in becoming a complete and great football player and really channeling all the raw talent that he has into being a dependable day in, day out, play in, play out, game in, game out, week in, week out guy. Because that's what Cleveland was. That's what Austin was. And so that's just maturity, and he's excited about the opportunity. But make no mistake, this is a special talent, and so this is a big year for him, and I think he's excited about it. He just kind of shows up and makes plays sometimes, and he's not really in the right spot. He's one of those guys that you're going, no, oh yes. He went under the block, he should have been over the block, but he makes the play anyway. He's kind of one of those guys. But we just need him to take a step this fall and being a really consistent guy and doing his job and not doing other people's job. Don't do too much. And if he'll become a little more consistent in that, then he's going to become that great football player that we know he can be.
Well, your team right now gets a chance to take a little bit of a deep breath as they go through exams. That'll finish up tomorrow here on campus. Then a little bit of time off, and then summer 1 is going to start. And you will turn this group over to the best strength and conditioning staff and head coach there is in Joey Madison. And the magic will start to work this summer. It'll be a big summer for these guys.
Yeah, I don't get those emails about firing Joey Madison anymore. When I first got the job, everybody tried to tell me to get rid of my strength coach. coach, and I ain't like, y'all are crazy. I ain't getting rid of this guy. He's unbelievable. I need to help him. First of all, we need to give him the tools he needs to be successful, and we need to give him the right type of program and structure and discipline and accountability, because it all goes together. You can't out-train a bad lifestyle. All right, you can't be committed Monday through Friday and not committed Saturday, Sunday. It all goes together. And so I spend an enormous amount of time with Joey and how we work our calendar, how we plan, the daily lives of our players. So we've got a great plan in place. Joey is unbelievable, as is Mo and Greenlee and Paul Hogan. Those guys are phenomenal, and we haven't had any turnover there either. Our strength staff has been together for years now, and our players love them, and they spend more time with the player than anybody. So if you don't get that right, you're sledding uphill right out of the gate. That is one of the most critical components of any football program. It's not just what you're doing in that weight room, but how you do it, and the relationships, that commitment to discipline and so forth. And Joey just does an unbelievable job. He really does. I mean, he is the best. People argue that, okay, well, we beat Alabama, we beat LSU, we beat them all. And that doesn't happen. You don't take the ball on one with 10 minutes and 2 seconds in a national championship game against supposedly the best team ever, and go 10 minutes and 2 seconds in the game and be bad in the strength conditioning program. Joey Batts and that staff, they do a phenomenal job. But more importantly, our players believe in them, and that's so much a part of it. So they will. They finish. Most of them are already done. I think maybe might be a couple having a test tomorrow, but they'll get a break. So we got everybody hitting the road. Some are going on micro internships for the next couple of weeks, all over the world, really. Going from India to California to New York to Miami and everywhere in between, doing micro internships. And it's through our Paul Journey program. This is so important for the development of our guys as men and their futures. So that's an awesome thing. We have a mission trip going on, a service trip to Thailand. I believe that's going to be this Saturday. They head out for that. And then we got some of the other guys just been going on vacation, taking a little time. Summer school starts the 15th, but our workouts start the 22nd. So they're going to have a nice little break, and then the grind begins. But the thing about this team, and the thing about where our program is now, I really don't have to worry about these guys coming back on the 22nd and being the first time that any of them's done anything in 3 weeks. These guys are they know what they have to do, and they're committed to it. And more importantly, they know if they don't do anything, they're going to be way behind when they meet Joey on the 22nd. So we've got a good plan in place for summer one. We'll do camps, and then have a break between summer one, summer two, and carry it out. Start August 1.
Love it. Finally, let's talk academics. For those of you that don't know, this number is about to increase next week sometime when the guys walk across stage. 212 seniors have been through his program in his tenure. 208 of them have graduated, all right, from Clemson. So you got top 10% of the National 8 are 8 of the last 9 years. There's only 2 other teams that can say that. One's Duke, one's Northwestern. Not bad academic institutions, all right, from that standpoint. But academics is everything. It is foremost. It is first for you.
Yeah, and so 8 of the 10 years we've been top 10, and but 8 out of the last 9 for sure. So we were talking about this coming down here. I was kind of excited about it because I guess it just came out yesterday or whatever. I'm good friends with David Shaw. He's the Stanford coach. I always like to mess with him and tell him they're the Clemson of the West Coast. Kind of the Stanford of the East Coast over here. I can't wait to send him the text because they're a notch below us. It's us, Duke, and Northwestern, and then Stanford is, I think they were 7. So they got to pick it up out there on the West Coast. They're going to be the Clemson out there, so I can't wait to send him that message. But I'm super proud of what we've been able to do academically. But you got to understand that's how we built the program. That's how it started from day one. It wasn't something that we just lucked into. It was a very intentional focus about how we're going to build a program. From day one, whenever I got the job there in December, and we had our first staff meeting that January, when we got our first staff together, and I walked in and I said, this is who we are, this is the way we're going to do it, this is why we're going to do it that way, and we haven't changed in 10 years. We're doing it the exact same way. We're going to graduate our players. We're going to equip them with the tools they need to be successful in life, not just how to play defensive end. We're going to make sure they have a great experience, and we're going to win a championship. And that's the order we're going to do it in. And we're never going to compromise that. We're never going to put winning in front of graduation, ever. And so if a guy's not going to class, he can play. You know, it's just that simple. And so what has happened over those 10 years is the culture has gotten so ingrained. It's just, you know, you attract guys. It's like a magnet to guys who are serious about it, like a Christian Wilkins, like a Trevor Lawrence, like a Deshaun Watson, and so on and so on and so on. A Cleveland Furrow wants to come back because he wants to graduate. It's important to him. Christian Wilkins leaves with a master's degree, 3.5 years. He wins the Campbell Trophy, which is the top student athlete in all of college football, all levels. You know, and this guy walks on the stage in front of 3,000 people and accepts the Campbell Trophy on a team, on the best team ever, all right, 15-0, but yet we had the highest team GPA in the history of our football program. We had the most 3.0s in the history of our football program. We won a Campbell Trophy. Hunter Renfro won the Bowden Award, which is the character Heisman. We won the AFCA Top Academic Award. We hit the top 10% APR. So it's not just winning, it's how you win, and that's the culture of our program. And so now, you know, but it was very intentional. And it all goes back to just my belief and what's just ingrained in my mind and my heart is I can remember very vividly, you know, some of the greatest players that I ever played with. The band cheered so loud for them, people patted them on the back, and they were excited to see them or get their autograph. And you know, back in those days, you just kind of majored in eligibility. So guys were eligible for 4 years, and then they were gone, and they weren't anywhere closer to having a degree than when they got there. And unless you were really self-driven to get that degree and understand it a lot of times. And so then I'd see some of my teammates down the road, maybe when we were 30, and man, life was hard for them because they never got that degree. Now the air's out of the ball, the band stopped playing, and I always said, because I had gotten into coaching, that if I ever got a chance to be a head coach, you know, that was never going to be my players' experience unless they wanted it to be. They